Well, as Canadians prepare for the end of the year, the economic outlook for 2023 does not look promising. And some investment professionals are encouraging people to cross their T's and dot their I's coming into the new year. Now, this comes following yet another interest rate hike by the Bank of Canada earlier this month, one by the U.S. Federal Reserve on Wednesday, and others by the Bank of England and the European Central Bank on Thursday. Meanwhile, investors continue to hope that the bear market will finally come to an end in 2023, although no one has a clear date in mind for when exactly that would happen. Well, joining us now to give us his outlook for 2023 and what investors can do to prepare is Brendan Caldwell, Director at Caldwell Securities Ltd. Brendan, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Well, good to be back, Nima, even in these dark times.
Yes, definitely, Brendan. Now, considering we're just over 2 weeks until the end of the year, is there anything that investors should consider regarding their portfolio right now?
Well, with your introduction there, it does make one want to feel like you should run for the hills, but I would encourage people to actually be a lot more thoughtful about it, in that if you genuinely think you're going to need money, like if you have a portfolio of, or you're going to need 100,000 or a million or whatever the number is, even 10, whatever money you think you're going to need in 2023, then yeah, it may make some sense to set that money aside now so that you're not worried about the ups and downs of the market in the short term. But this pervasive negativity, the concern about interest rates going up, about inflation, about a recession, all of that has got the market somewhat negative. It's down today, but I think it's largely been absorbed into the market consciousness. So short of some other external shock hitting the market that we don't expect, I actually think that 2023 could be a very good year, surprisingly.
Some interesting points to consider, Brendan. Now, in addition to these interest rate hikes, we know a lot of people are thinking about inflation, the rising cost of living. So what would be the best way to hedge against inflation, especially coming into the new year?
Well, that's a tough one, Nima, because it's affecting everybody in all different levels, from food prices, no matter what the CEO of Loblaws might say, to rents, to really almost every expense in life. But from a portfolio perspective, there are really two types of investments: ones that have fixed incomes and ones that have the ability to increase the revenue that they generate to the portfolio. And those latter tend to be in the form of dividend paying stocks. So my client's emphasis for the next while, and indeed for the last while, has been to own stocks that have the capacity to both grow their earnings and the distributions of dividends that they pay out to their shareholders. So companies with rising dividends are probably the best bet to combat over a longer period of time inflation, if it's indeed here to stay.
All right, Brendan, I want to switch gears and talk about RRSP accounts now. We know a new year means new 2023 birthdays, and once you turn 71, you must change your RRSP account into an RRIF account. So tell us a little bit more about these accounts and what seniors need to consider when it comes to RRIF accounts.
Well, there's lots of different vehicles which to save. So younger people, the first vehicle they should likely use is a tax-free savings account, a TFSA, because there's no deduction to put the money in, but all the money in it accumulates tax-free, and then there's no tax to take it out. Fine. But the RSP, useful for once you've maxed out your TFSA for saving, say, for a house, and ultimately for retirement. These RSPs have to, when you get it up into your 70s, be turned into an account where the money is paid out on a regular basis, because the government, having allowed you to make a tax deduction putting money into your RSP, wants its taxes eventually. So yes, the year you turn 71, your RSP needs to be turned into a RRIF, a Registered Retirement Income Fund, and then starting the age of 72, that begins to pay out. My advice to people is to try and minimize the amount taken out of your RRIF. You can either use your age or your spouse's age as the basis for taking money out, because as you get older, you need to take a higher percentage out. I suggest using the younger of the two. And unless you actually need the money for income, to take it out toward the end of the year, to give it the maximum time to continue to accumulate, because the money can still grow in these RRIFs even after you're retired and grow on a tax deferred basis.
Always a helpful interview, Brendan. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Nima.